Hello, Rabbanit Shira.
Shalom, Rabbanit Hamutal.
So what's the weirdest question you got ever since you donated a kidney?
So I donated my kidney a year ago. It's very popular in Israel. I don't know.
Yeah, it's a thing.
It's a thing. It's a long story, but people actually asked me, what am I going to do when I'll come back, Be'ezrat Hashem, on Tchiyat Hametim? Because then I'll be lacking one of my kidneys, and my kidney, Baruch Hashem, exists, and it's walking around with Tatiana, who got my kidney, and people ask me, so who's going to get the kidney when you'll come back? He, she, or you?
That's so weird.
And I was like, I don't know, but I'm fine with it, because if I can live with one kidney, I can come back with one kidney.
I also got questions whether or not you're allowed to donate your organs after you're dead because of Tchiyat Hametim. And I said, of course, you could do that. Why not?
Why? Because you're saving someone who's ill, who's at risk, risking his life. So by saving someone,
already dead.
And you're already dead. So of course you're allowed to, and we encourage that actually.
Yes.
Yeah, but that's a very complicated halachic questions. But it's interesting because Tchiyat Hametim, the revival of the dead, is something that we're not used to learn about, and it's something that we don't know much about it, and it's something that you push to the side, and you're like, oh, I don't know, whatever. And all of a sudden, in Masechet Sanhedrin,
we get to the final chapter, Perek Chelek, which is very different from anything we've seen in the first 10 prakim. It's not halachic in the sense of debates, how do you kill a person, and what did he do to deserve it, and how you build the Beit Din, and witnesses. Everything we spoke about is pushed aside, and now we're speaking about ideas. Who's going to get to Tchiyat Hametim? Who's going to get to Olam Haba? What does that mean?
Basically, we're talking about the future.
Yeah.
We're not talking about the present. We're talking about La'atid Lavo, some things that will happen one day when HaKadosh Baruch Hu decides. So it's already putting us in a different situation. And the name of the chapter, Perek Chelek, is because of the first Mishnah.
Right, so the Mishnah starts, Kol Yisrael yesh lahem chelek la'olam haba. Everyone in Israel deserves to get to Olam Haba, except for, and then the Mishnah switches, except for the people who do not believe in the three basic notions, right? The ones who don't believe in Tchiyat Hametim, the ones who don't believe Torah was given by Hashem from the sky, and apikosim, people who don't believe in God, in the whole system.
So we're going to see exactly what's the definition of apikoros. We're going to see exactly what's the definition of Torah min hashamayim. What do we need to believe when we want to believe that HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave Torah from the heaven? We just read about it in Parashot Shavua throughout the book of Shmot. So what exactly do we need to believe? What does it mean? But now we're talking about the first topic, which is Tchiyat Hametim.
Which is very difficult to understand, very vague in so many people's minds. And the Mefarshim have to deal with this because it's a whole chapter in the Gemara.
But we don't have a lot of Tosfot, right?
Right, because I always tell my students, when you don't see the Tosfot, you know it's a special kind of Gemara. It's more ideas-based or Midrashim. And this parak, I think, besides the first page, doesn't have Tosfot.
Doesn't have Tosfot. It does have Rashi because Rashi just interprets it and explains that to us, what exactly the Gemara is talking about. But it's not a lot of halacha. So Tchiyat Hametim, it's a question that we have a lot of Mefarshim, a lot of Rishonim, a lot of the important rabbis, the first generations of the rabbis, trying to understand what exactly the Tchiyat Hametim, what does it mean? So the question will be around two main topics. And the first topic would be the body.
Physical.
What are the limits and what are the borders of our physical body?
Would we come back in the same form? Is it nefesh or guf? Is it the mind or the body? We don't actually know.
And when will it happen? How will it happen? Who it will happen to? Is it only for the righteous, or would the wicked come back as well? And there are opinions in the Rishonim that are saying, first opinion would say everyone will come back, and the second opinion will say no, only the righteous people will come back.
Right.
But both of those questions and all of those questions are actually coming from the basic question is, what is the purpose of Tchiyat Hametim?
Yeah.
If HaKadosh Baruch Hu already decided on all of those people that they are dead, so why to bring them back? What is the purpose of Tchiyat Hametim? And if you understand the purpose of Tchiyat Hametim, you can defer from that to say, is everyone going to come back, or only the righteous people will come back?
And in what form?
And in what form will they come back?
Well, you need your kidney.
No, I won't need my kidney.
You'll be fine.
I'm good with one.
Yeah.
So all of these questions are dealing with the body and the physical body. The second type of questions that the Rishonim are dealing with will be about the nature. the world as we know it has rules in which he
physical rules. Everything works in a system, and maybe the whole thing will change. And Hashem will, I don't know, spread it, stretch the time,
the rules,
and the place, and however people live about the planet. Will everything change or not?
Because the basic emunah is that HaKadosh Baruch Hu has the ability to do whatever he wants. So if he wants all the dead to put their body back and to come back, he's able to do it. Yeah. The question is, does that what HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants? Is that like the plan of the world, is to have another world in which all the dead will come back? Like it sounds like a Netflix, kind of a Netflix movie.
And a lot of people said that the Rambam had a different perspective on the matter, and that maybe he did not believe Chas v'Shalom in Tchiyat Hametim. So the Rambam sits down and
why did they thought it? Because in Perek Chelek, when he writes about Perek Chelek, he doesn't describe exactly what's going to happen in Tchiyat Hametim.
Yeah, it's kind of vague in the Rambam's writing. So he writes a whole book, Igeret Tchiyat Hametim, which he says, of course I believe in Tchiyat Hametim, but I'm not going to tell you exactly what will be there and how.
So Rambam chooses to keep it vague.
Yeah.
And not to say specifically what does he think Tchiyat Hametim would look like, or when it will happen, or how it will happen.
Right.
But what Rambam is emphasizing is that it's important to believe in Tchiyat Hametim. Yeah. What exactly do we believe in? That's a good question. I'm not really sure. Right. Maybe if we'll learn all the Perek, we'll know a bit better. But all the Perek is discussing topics and issues and questions that are arising from Tchiyat Hametim, and basically what they're trying to say, the rabbis in the Gemara, the Tanaim and the Amoraim, trying to look for psukim from the Chumash to give us evidence that Tchiyat Hametim is from Chumash.
I love it that the whole chapter is very philosophical, because we often talk about tzaddik v'ra lo, rasha v'tov lo. How come we don't see consequences to everything that people do in this world? And I think that Chazal and the Tanaim and Amoraim are trying to tell us this is not the end. We don't know exactly what will be the next chapter, but our lives as we know them are not the end. Not everything that we see is sachar ve'onesh, our consequences, because we will have Olam Haba. But I'm on the Rambam side. I don't know exactly how it's going to look and when, and will time stretch and people will change. I don't know. I think it's okay to believe in it, even if we can't describe exactly what will happen.
I think it's beautiful to think that there's always a place to do tikkun, like to correct ourselves and to continue to correct ourselves and to continue to do better. Because even if you were killed in one of the 4th midot of Beit Din, in hereg, skilas, hereg v'chenek, skilas, refa, hereg v'chenek, even if Beit Din decided that you need to die because you've done something horrible and you deserve death, this chapter comes at the end of Masechet Sanhedrin to tell us, okay, you're going to get killed, but you still have the option to correct yourself. You still have the option to do kapara. You still have the option to do better. Next round.
And I think there's something very comforting about Kol Yisrael yesh lahem chelek la'olam haba. Whatever you did, there's always tikkun.
As שנזכה בעזרת Hashem to have a lot of besorot tovot for all of Am Yisrael.
And last chapter, we're almost done. Keep going.